Welcome back, everyone. We're about to take a deep dive into a world that's full of influence, impact, and, let's be honest, a touch of mystery.
Mystery.
Well, okay, maybe not mystery exactly, but we're
Yeah.
talking about speech writing. I
Yeah.
mean, think about it. It's this whole profession dedicated to crafting the words we hear, but rarely think about who's behind them. Those powerful speeches that stick with us.
The ones that can move a nation, inspire change, or even just make us think differently.
Exactly. And you sent over some fascinating stuff from RoleCatcher, this platform that's all about helping people navigate their careers. And they have this tagline that caught my eye: crafting words that move the world. How cool is that?
It's pretty spot on when you consider how impactful a well-crafted speech can be. And the guide you shared, the one about becoming a speechwriter, it's pretty insightful.
It is. And one thing that stood out to me was this emphasis on using a conversational tone. Now, on the one hand, it makes total sense. You want a speech to sound natural, engaging, like the speaker's right there with you. But then there's the other side of it. How do you do that when you're dealing with, say, complex policy points or business jargon? How do you make that conversational?
It's a real art, finding that sweet spot between keeping things accessible and relatable without dumbing down the message.
Right. You don't want to sound like a robot, but you also don't want to oversimplify things.
And that's where a good speechwriter comes in. They know how to take complex ideas and break them down into digestible chunks that anyone can understand, all while making it sound effortless.
It's like they're speaking directly to you, even if you're in a room full of people.
Exactly. One trick they use is contractions. We use them all the time in everyday conversation, right? So incorporating them into a speech can instantly make it feel less formal, more approachable.
That's so true. I hadn't even thought about it, but it makes a huge difference. Imagine a CEO giving a speech, and instead of saying, "we as a company have achieved," they just say, "we did it." It completely changes the tone.
It does. It shows that the speaker is human, that they're not afraid to connect with the audience on a more personal level.
And isn't that what it's all about? Making that connection, building trust, and ultimately getting your message across in a way that resonates.
Absolutely. And it's not just about contractions. It's about using language that feels natural, authentic to the speaker.
Which brings up another point. This guy does a great job of highlighting the sheer variety of places where speechwriters work. It's not just politics, is it?
Definitely not. Sure, we often picture them working behind the scenes for politicians, but they're in high demand across so many fields.
Like what? Give us the rundown. Where else might we find these wordsmiths hard at work?
Well, for starters, think about the business world. CEOs, executives, they all need help crafting speeches for big conferences, shareholder meetings, product launches, you name it. Then you've got the entertainment industry award, acceptance speeches, maybe even those hilarious roasts you see on TV. Think tanks, nonprofits, anyone who needs to present complex information in an engaging way, even wedding speeches.
Oh man, I can only imagine the pressure of writing a wedding speech. You've got to strike the right tone, be heartfelt, but not too sappy, funny, but appropriate.
And let's not forget, you've got a whole room of people who are hanging on your every word.
Yeah.
So yeah, speech writing is definitely more versatile than people realize, but it's not all glitz and glamour, is it? The guide also mentions some of the downsides, like long hours and fierce competition. What else did they highlight?
Yeah, what's the trade-off for getting to craft these amazing speeches? Spill the tea.
Well, the creative influence is a definite plus. You're shaping messages that can reach a global audience, potentially impacting major decisions. And let's be real, the earning potential isn't too shabby either, especially as you gain experience and build a reputation.
Okay, so big impact, potentially big rewards. But what about those long hours? Are we talking all-nighters fueled by coffee and the pressure of an impending deadline? Is that a thing?
It can be demanding, especially when you're working on a tight turnaround or a high-profile speech. Adaptability is key, being able to switch gears from something lighthearted to a super serious topic. And honestly, not every speech is going to be a career-defining moment. Some days, you're writing about, well, let's just say not every topic is equally thrilling.
Okay, fair enough. Even speechwriters have to pay their dues with the occasional dry topic. But I'm guessing that's where their skill really shines, making even the most mundane information engaging.
You got it. That's where that conversational tone we talked about comes in. It's about finding that emotional core, that human connection, no matter what you're writing about.
So you're basically saying even seasoned speechwriters had to start by, paying their dues. It's like any other craft, right? You got to learn the basics before you can wow everyone with your masterpieces.
Exactly. It's like an apprenticeship in a way. You're learning from the best, honing your skills, and gradually taking on more responsibility.
Okay, so you've done your time as the research guru, soaking up all the knowledge. What's the next step up on this metaphorical speechwriting ladder?
Well, usually you move into a junior speechwriter role. That's where you really start to spread your wings a bit.
Spread your wings, I mean like you get to write about more interesting stuff.
Exactly. You're given more freedom to choose topics, to develop your own voice. And this is where the RoleCatcher Guide really emphasizes the importance of storytelling.
Oh, I'm all about storytelling. We've all had to sit through those speeches that are just fact after fact, statistic after statistic. It's like watching paint dry.
Right. No one remembers those. But a speech with a good story, that's what makes it memorable, engaging.
It's the difference between giving information and actually connecting with your audience.
100%.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. If you think about it, humans are hardwired for stories. We've been telling them since, well, the dawn of language.
It's how we make sense of the world, how we relate to each other. And the best speechwriters, they tap into that. Think about Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech.
Oh, come on. Now that's just good speech writing.
Oh, right. It wasn't just about policy. It was about a vision, a hope for a better future. And he told it in a way that resonated with millions of people.
And it still does, all these years later.
Mhm.
That's the power of a good story.
Okay, so you've mastered the art of the anecdote. You're weaving captivating tales into every speech. You're basically a speechwriting rock star. What's next?
Well, eventually you climb to that mid-level position.
Yeah.
And here's where things get really strategic. You're not just crafting individual speeches anymore. You're thinking about the bigger picture.
Bigger picture, meaning, give me the details.
It's about understanding how each speech fits into a larger communication strategy. You're collaborating more closely with executives, helping them define their public persona, shaping their message for different audiences.
So it's less about the individual speech and more about the overall narrative.
Exactly. And it's not just about playing it safe. At this level, speechwriters need to be ahead of the curve, anticipating trends, understanding how the media landscape is evolving.
Anticipating trends, you mean like predicting what the hot button issues will be a year from now? That's intense.
It's part of it, but also thinking about how people consume information these days. It's not just about what you say anymore, it's how you say it, where you say it.
It's like you have to be a mind reader, a futurist, and a wordsmith all rolled into one.
It's a lot to juggle for sure. And speaking of juggling, that's where those RoleCatcher AI tools come in. They're not just offering career advice, they're giving job seekers some serious technological firepower.
Right. They've got this whole suite of AI-powered tools designed to help you land your dream job. And it's not just for speechwriters either, right?
Nope, they've got resources for all sorts of professions. But one tool that I found particularly fascinating was their job description analyzer. You know how sometimes you read a job posting and it's like they're speaking a different language?
Oh, tell me about it. It's like they're trying to weed out anyone who doesn't have a PhD in corporate jargon.
Well, this AI can actually analyze those descriptions and extract the hidden keywords, the skills that employers are really looking for but might not be explicitly stating.
So it's like having a secret decoder ring for job postings. That's amazing. What else can this AI do?
Well, it doesn't just stop at job descriptions. It can actually analyze your skills and experience based on your resume and then match you with potential employers.
So you're telling me this AI is like a matchmaking service for your career. That's wild.
It's like having a personal headhunter in your back pocket. And get this, they even have a tool for practicing interviews.
Wait, what? An AI that can help you with your interview skills? How does that even work?
It's pretty cool, actually. They have a huge library of practice interview questions tailored to specific roles. You can practice your answers, record yourself, and the AI will actually give you feedback on your performance.
Wow, talk about next level interview prep. It's like having a personal coach and career counselor all rolled into one.
It really is. But even with all the technology in the world, at the end of the day, it still comes down to your own skills, your creativity, your work ethic.
Right, because a fancy algorithm can't write a heartfelt speech for you. You still need that human touch.
Absolutely. And that's something we can't forget, no matter how advanced technology gets.
Okay, so we've climbed the ranks from entry-level researcher to mid-level strategist. What's the view like from the top? For those who reach the peak of the speechwriting profession, those senior speechwriters, what do they do? So it's like being the architect of their entire public image. You're shaping not just their words, but their entire message.
Exactly. You're thinking long-term, anticipating potential pitfalls, crafting speeches that resonate not just today, but for years to come. And often, you're leading a team of writers, mentoring them, making sure everything meets those sky-high expectations.
It's like you've reached the summit of Mount Speechwriting. You're not just writing anymore, you're leading the whole expedition. It's funny, we've been talking about this whole conversational tone thing, and it made me realize just how much speechwriting itself has changed over the
Oh,
years.
are you kidding? It's come a long way from those guys in togas with their scrolls trying to rally the troops.
Right. Can you imagine trying to give a speech with a stone tablet in your hand? Talk about a tough crowd. But seriously, technology has had a huge impact on how speeches are written and delivered, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, where would we be without the good old-fashioned teleprompter? That's been a game changer for sure.
It's true. It's so much easier to connect with an audience when you're not staring down at your notes the whole time.
Right. But even with all the fancy tech in the world, a poorly written speech is still a poorly written speech. The tech can enhance the delivery, but the core message, the heart of the speech, that's still got to come from a human being.
So true. Technology can help you get the words out there, but it can't replace the human touch, the emotional connection.
Exactly. Think about all those iconic speeches we still talk about today. They endure because they tapped into something deeper, something universal. They transcended the moment and became part of our collective memory.
It's like they weren't just speeches. They were moments in time that captured something essential about who we are. And that takes us right back to the power of storytelling.
100%. A good story well told can stay with you for a lifetime. It can change the way you see the world. And when you combine that with the reach and immediacy of a powerful speech, well, the impact can be incredible.
It really is remarkable, isn't it? This thing we call speech writing, it's not just about words on a page. It's about connecting with people on a fundamental level, inspiring them, moving them to action.
And that's a skill that goes way beyond the podium. Whether we realize it or not, we're all storytellers in our own way. We're
Yeah.
constantly trying to persuade, to inform, to connect with each other.
So true. And the more we understand the elements of what makes a good speech, the more effectively we can communicate in all areas of our lives. So the next time you're blown away by an amazing speech, take a moment to appreciate the person behind the curtain, the speechwriter, who helped craft those words and bring them to life.
Give those wordsmiths some love. And hey, you never know. Maybe you've got a few compelling speeches of your own just waiting to be written.
That's right, everyone's got a story to tell. But for now, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of speechwriting. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and until next time, happy listening.